Hi, everyone. This is Melissa May. I just wanted to come on and do a quick dream video that I had a dream last night, and it was about the mark of the beast. So I'm going to go ahead and get into that. So I had a dream that my husband and I, we were kind of at some big event. I don't know if it was like a concert or it felt like it was at a concert. So it was kind of like it was being held in a big sports arena. And so when we drove into the parking lot, I remembered seeing like a ton of cars, just a lot of cars there. So when the event was done, something had taken place in the world. A change had been made to where you could not come and go freely because you needed something in the hand to be able to come and go freely and travel. So this gentleman had come and got my husband and I, and he had taken us up to the room. And so I can remember my husband saying to this gentleman, he's like, well, how long is this going to take? How long is this going to be that we're going to, be in this room? And the guy looked at my husband and I, he goes, well, that depends on you and your wife. He goes, that depends if you decide to make a good decision or a bad decision. And so Jason was like, oh, okay. So anyway, this gentleman excused himself and he said, I'll be right back. And he goes, when I come back, I'll be taking you to this other area where you're going to have to make a decision. So when the guy came back, he was not nice. When he had first taken us into the room, his demeanor it wasn't mean, or it wasn't like a bad attitude kind of. But when he came back, his whole demeanor had changed, and he was holding almost like this whip in his hand. And he looked at me and he goes, okay. He looked at me and said, you're first. He goes, you are first. And he goes, and if you don't listen to me and if you do not comply, you are going to get hit with this whip. And so, of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? So I went ahead and he, I followed him to this other area. And something inside of me was like, Melissa, you've got to try to find a way of escape. And so I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, Lord, you're going to have to help me. And so this guy had left me momentarily, and I found a way of escape. And I started going down these stairs to try to get on the outside of this building, this arena that we were in. And I started going down the stairs, and all of a sudden the Lord said, Melissa, you need to stop. And he goes, go back up this 3 steps, go back up 3 steps. So I was like, yes, Lord. And so just as I had gone up 3 steps, the Lord was instructing me, you must be very quiet. And so I did. Well, as I was doing that, a security guard walked in through the door that I was actually going to go out of, but the Lord had stopped me and gave me instructions to go back up 3 steps and then to be quiet. And so he came in, and of course I was way above his field of vision, and the security guard almost looked like he had a lot on his mind. He wasn't looking up the stairs. He was only focused on whatever his mind was on. And the security guard actually had to, he walked over to a desk area with a computer sat. And then I could hear in his mind where he was like, I really have to go to the restroom. So he went to there was a door right there where the restrooms were. And he walked in the door. And then that was when the Lord said, okay, Melissa, go out the door. So I exited out the door, made the escape, and I was headed over to this area where, I don't know, there was just, some people were gathered outside. And so I walked over to this gentleman and I said, I said, what was going on in there? And he goes, well, don't you know? He's like, we had to take a chip. They had to put a chip in our hand in order for us to leave the building. He goes, didn't you get one? And he goes, let me see your chip. Let me see your hand right now. And of course, I didn't have one. I had escaped and I was like, oh my gosh. So I basically turned around and started running. But I had actually looked at the parking lot, and you guys, like 80% of the cars had left that parking lot. Like almost 80% of those people that were in that arena, they ended up taking the mark. And there was still about 20% of cars in there that were still parked there that obviously had not taken it. And so that was pretty much the end of the dream. But in that dream, I kept on hearing the Lord say 3 times, he will overcome the saints. He will overcome the saints. He will overcome the saints. So I knew that was in the Bible, and it was actually in Revelation 13:7. It says, and the beast was allowed to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. And he was given authority to rule over every tribe and people and tongue and nation. So that was my vision. I just wanted to come on and share it with you that, these dreams and visions that I get, I never really interpret them because we prophesy in part. So I don't want to add to it. I don't want to take away from it. I just want to tell you what I saw and just leave it at that. So, we know things are coming. We know we're in the end times. And, I really believe when the Lord was talking to me, and I was able to hear his instructions. I really think that that's where we need to be in a place right now, is just a place of intimacy with the Father. Because if we're not in an intimate relationship with Jesus Christ, we're not going to be able to hear him speak or give instructions when he needs to tell us things. So that would be my only encouragement, is you guys really need to get into the the secret place with Jesus, spend time with him, get to know his voice. And if he gives instructions that he will give for a later time, we'll be able to hear those instructions. And so I know it's been a while since I've been on YouTube, and my ministry has kind of taken a change. As you guys know, I just authored a book, From Wrecked to Restored. And so that book will be available on Amazon and Kindle on November 10th. The Kindle version will be out sooner, and you can actually pre-order. But I wanted you to know that I am still having dreams and visions, but I just have not been very good at getting on YouTube and sharing them. But I'm going to try to change that and be on a little bit more. So anyway, I hope this dream finds you. Blessings to you, and love you. Bye-bye.